Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chair Podcast. And today we're gonna have our week. I don't remember what the week is. Week 7. There we go. Nope. Yep. Week 7. NFL picks here. So let's get started. There's not really much to really say. Let's just get into our picks for this one. Starting with Thursday night, this game already happened because I am recording this on a Friday. But me and Srbensky both went Broncos, while Sam actually went with the Saints. So two of us are off to a 1-0 start. uh, so now let's start off here with the London game, which I don't know if the NFL just like hates London or something, but I really have some questions for whoever's scheduling these games. So starting with the London game, we've got we have the Patriots and the Jaguars. This is the second game for Jacksonville now in London. They were there last week when they got trounced by the Bears, and they'll be there again this week to take on the also 1-5 New England Patriots. Why in the world? Uh, why in the world that the NFL thought this was a great idea? I really don't know, but I do think this is a game where I don't like either team, but New England starting the rookie quarterback, their team just does not look good in general. I think the Jaguars have a little bit more in them. It's their London crowd. The Jaguars are kind of London's adopted team, so I will go with the Jaguars to win this one. As for Srbensky and for Sam. Sam is going to go Jaguars like I am, but Srbensky is going to go with the Patriots. So he's got New England getting the win in London over Jacksonville, and then Sam is sticking with me. He is going with the Jaguars. Oh yeah, so update on our standings. Sam is 5 games out of first place. Meanwhile, Srbensky is only one. And Srbensky actually had the first ever undefeated week last week. I've never seen that before. And in the time we've been doing this, no one has ever gone a whole week without missing a single game. Srbensky was the first to do it. Of course, I went 13-1, and then Sam was 12-2, but I still have never seen anyone not miss a game the whole entire week. He went 14-0 last week. Really impressive. Well done, Srbensky. I'll be getting it this week. No, I guarantee you I won't be. I'm sure I'm going to get some of these wrong. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks starting the 1 o'clock slate, going on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons. This should be a really fun one. Sam is going to go with the Atlanta Falcons in this one. They defend home turf. As for Srbensky, I'm trying to see. There it is. He had also has the Falcons, and yeah, I'm sticking with Atlanta in this one. Seattle's dealing with a lot of injuries. They have not looked sharp lately. Atlanta's hitting their stride. There's a lot of things that are kind of just going the wrong way for Seattle at the moment. So I think Atlanta's got the edge here. I am going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. Next, we have the Tennessee Titans going on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills. Um, I think just Tennessee Titans in general should tell us who's going to win this game. But I also like the fact that the Bills just made a huge trade a couple days ago, as they got themselves from actually right there the Browns, Amari Cooper. So they actually have themselves a true number one receiver now, and that is a game changer for the Bills, as they didn't really have that before. I mean, they had Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, but those are not number one options. And now you go ahead and you make a nice trade. There's 2 trades for receivers, of course. We had Cooper the Bills, and we'll have another one that we'll be talking about in a minute once we get to them. But enormous trade for the Bills. I really liked that deal for them. I didn't even see it coming. I just saw it and was like, oh, shoot, that's actually a really good deal for them. And I really like this for Buffalo. I think it significantly helps the receiving core. and it'll significantly help Josh Allen as he now has a true number one option, true go-to guy, and everybody else who's really more so just like complementary pieces can be those complementary pieces now, which I really think for the Bills that will enormously help them and will be so much better for really their chances and postseason and whatever else. Uh, so we all have Bills. I don't really know if I even have to look at it. Yeah, we all have Bills. Taking down the Tennessee Titans. Next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals on the road taking on the Cleveland Browns. Uh, Sam is going to be taking the Bengals. I'm sure that's who Stravinsky's taking. Yeah, uh, they both have Cincy. Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals here too. I mean, since the Bengals have not looked sharp, I will say that they have not looked great this year. But the Browns are dumpster fire. Everything is really burning down over there right now. I know Nick Chubb's gonna be supposed to be back this week, but I don't think that really changes anything at all. The Browns look so bad. Deshaun Watson has really I mean the Browns sunk everything into Deshaun Watson being being the guy that he was for the Houston Texans, and yeah, he has not been anything close to that. And the Houston Texans pretty much just fleeced them and got and got a bunch of first round picks for a guy who isn't it anymore. Speaking of the Houston Texans, we have the Houston Texans going on the road to take on the Green Bay Packers. This is going to be a really fun game. We have a couple of them this week. This is one of the really good ones this week. This is not a game to miss. I'm sure it's going to be this one, and then we're going to get to another one in the 1 o'clock slate here in a minute, which I'm sure are probably going to be the nationally televised games. Of course, they're all NFC North teams. What a surprise! This is going to be a really fun game, though. As much as I hate doing this, though, I have to go with the home team. I am going to take Green Bay. Houston's one loss comes on the road against the Minnesota Vikings, of which Minnesota absolutely obliterated them. I don't think Green Bay is going to do that to them. I think Houston will make this game really close. They'll make it really fun, but no Nico Collins for Houston still, so it's going to be Stephon Diggs as the number one man. And as for Green Bay, I think they're missing maybe a receiver or two, but they have like a billion receivers. There's not really, I think, necessarily like a true one in Green Bay. I think there's just kind of a bunch of twos. If you guys know what I mean. I mean, you could consider Jaden Reed their number one receiver, and I think he's kind of close. But they have so many just options on that offense that I don't necessarily think Jordan Love is like, a game breaker. That's what everybody says. But he's got so many options in that offense. He doesn't have to be great. He just has to be decent. And that's exactly what he's been for Green Bay. And it's been very successful. And that defense has been really sharp this year. They have completely turned it around. Xavier McKinney has been awesome to start the year for them. I love Houston's team. They've been absolutely outstanding, but it's gonna be tough to win in Lambeau. So I think Green Bay gets it done and they win a tight one, a big one, at home against Houston. As for Stravinsky, and I think actually Sam both, if I'm not mistaken, they both have taken the Houston Texans. So they both are going to be taking CJ Stroud and Houston to get the win on the road in Lambeau. Certainly could see it, but I'm going to give the edge to Green Bay. Next, we have the Miami Dolphins going on the road to take on the Indianapolis Colts. Sam has Indy. He has the Indy Colts getting the win over the Dolphins, who are coming off the bye and still don't have Tua, by the way. As for Stravinsky, he also has the Colts, and yeah, I do too. Miami does not look like the same team right now. They just kind of look like they're scuffling. They're trying to figure out who they are without their quarterback, which I don't think really Tua will have been is really should be their quarterback of the future anyway. But they're scrambling right now. I mean, Tua's got another concussion. I mean, maybe he comes back, but even if he does, I mean, what is he really going to look like? I mean, the guy's had 3 concussions now in his very short NFL career. I mean, the guy's head's like bouncing off of the turf essentially every single time. That eventually is going to take a toll. So we'll see what happens with Tua. But right now it's still Tyler Huntley, and he has not figured things out in Miami. Maybe over to buy Mike McDaniel works some magic, but for the Colts, it looks like Anthony Richardson should be back. So Mr. Excitement will be back in action. He'll either have a 70-yard touchdown pass or the worst looking pick of all time. But that's what we like to see. So we'll see what happens with that game. But I am going to go with the Indy Colts. Should be a interesting game, but I'll take Indy. I just think they're a little bit better. And now we have the Detroit Lions, another one of the great games this week. The Detroit Lions at 4-1 going down the road to take on one of two undefeated teams in the NFL currently in the Minnesota Vikings, who are 5-0. The other one will be coming up to a little bit later here. Normally I'd be taking the Lions because I'm a homer. I like Detroit, and I'd be taking the Lions because, well, I like Detroit and I want to take the Lions. This is not one of those cases. We obviously, if you guys watched last week and watched the Lions' absolute demolition of the Cowboys last week, you'd also know Aiden Hutchinson's done for the year. Really brutal leg injury. If you're not someone who really can handle that stuff, I don't recommend looking it up. Um, or if you just, you can't really handle that much, just don't look it up in general, honestly. You know what? But brutal injury. Hopefully he comes back and he looks like the same player. I mean, it is a huge loss for the Lions with just how much of an impact he has to our defense. And on top of the fact that, we just lost arguably the best player on our defense. Heck, obviously, arguably even the best player in all of the best defensive player arguably in all the NFL right now. I mean, he's been that good this year. He's been that good last year. I mean, he's been that talented, and now he breaks his leg. Uh, fractured tibia, more than likely done for the season. I mean, they're saying maybe there's a chance. I don't see how that's possible. But the problem really is that's a big part of the Lion pass rush, and this is going to be our first week without him. And Davenport's done for the year. Kaminsky's done for the year. That Pecco guy who we brought in at Dallas game, he's done for the year. I mean, that's four edge rushers, all of which are out. You're pretty down on guys at this point now. I mean, I know the Lions will probably, I would have to assume that they're going to be making a move for a pass rusher, probably at the trade deadline or something. Who knows when that will be in these next few weeks here. I mean, it has to happen before November 5th, obviously. But I'm just saying I don't really know when that time frame in between now and then when they'll do that. But I hope they prove me wrong on this one, but I gotta go Vikings. It's our first game without Aiden Hutchinson, and adjusting to life without him is going to be really rough for the Lions. I could certainly see them winning this, but with how good Minnesota has been, with the way their defense has been playing, the way our secondary has been a little shaky at times, also getting very handsy, drawing a lot of penalties. Keeping up with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison is going to be a huge challenge. Now, I know Aaron Jones is still hurt. What his status is, I don't really know. But that passing game in and of itself is going to be really tough for us. And if Sam Darnold is not being pressured at all, and he just has all day is eating his lunch back there, and he's able to just toss it around, those corners aren't going to hold up all day. They're still young. They're still, some of them are still learning. That's going to be a tough task for the Lions. So I am going to go Minnesota. I hope they prove me wrong on that, but I got Vikings to stay undefeated. Sam and Stravinsky both went Lions. I figured they would. Uh, they both have Detroit winning on the road. I hope they're right. I really do. I really hope that they're right and the Lions can keep it going. They get another big and they get a win after winning beyond big and absolutely embarrassing the Cowboys last week. That game was awesome and horrible at the same time. I've never felt I felt a lot of emotions in that game. Let's put it that way. But they both got lines. Next, we have the Philly Eagles going on the road to take on the New York Giants. Sam and Serbenski both have the Eagles winning this one, and yeah, I do too because the Giants just suck. Neither one of these teams. Eagles are really interesting. I just think they need to get that hot mess of a head coach out of town, jetting him to the moon, because I think it's just so embarrassing. The fact that after you came out of a bye, right? You're 2-2. You haven't looked great so far the entire season. And there's people out. I mean, obviously there's people out for his head. I mean, that's just how you know Eagles fans work. That's what they do. But you know, the fact that Sirianni he comes out of a bye at 2-2. You're playing the worst team in all of the NFL in the Cleveland Browns. You come out, don't even look really that sharp. You beat them by 4, and then you proceed to taunt the fans. That's got to be the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. It does, it does, it looks so bad, and I don't, I'm not so sure that he's the guy, and we'll see where the Eagles go from here. Surely they don't completely flounder again at MetLife like they did last year. But I will take the Eagles in this one. Next, we have we have the starting the 4:05 slate. We have the Vegas Raiders on the road against the LA Rams. These are two barren teams. I think the Rams are getting Cooper Cup back this week, I think. I know he's off of IR, but I don't know if he's like actually going to be playing or not. But either way, the Raiders, of course, traded away Davante Adams. Max Crosby seems like he's done with the team. It's a mess in Vegas. The Rams are looking to kind of get their season back on track. I mean they think they're obviously a contending team. They think they got something to prove. Like we are a playoff team. Raiders not so much. This is in LA. This is at SoFi. I'm taking the Rams in this one. As for Sam and Serbensky, oh, well, they both have Rams too. I was not expecting that. I thought one of them would go with Vegas. But they both have the LA Rams taking this one. Okay. And then next one, I'm just gonna kind of skip over that one pretty quick because I can kind of already see what they're going with, and I mean, obviously, I will be too. I don't think it really takes much reasoning as to why we're going to be going with them. But next, we have the Carolina Panthers on the road against the Washington Commanders. I think the first team, like I was saying earlier, the first team should have given it away for you. There's absolutely no one on the planet that's taking the Carolina Panthers right now. They are absolute garbage. Washington did take a loss last week to the Baltimore Ravens, but everybody knows the Ravens are a dynamite team. They've been looking really good since the first 2 weeks of the year. I mean, they look good against the Chiefs, but then they look pretty bad against the Raiders. And they've really looked really good since then. Incredibly sharp for Baltimore. But Washington pushed them to the brink on the road, had a tight game against them, just fell a little short. This is a really good Washington team. Carolina, not so much. And then next we have a Super Bowl rematch. One that probably won't be really won't be that interesting. We got the Kansas City Chiefs on the road taking on the San Francisco 49ers, who have been dealing with an enormous amount of injuries to start the year. I think they're getting a little bit healthier now, but a lot of injuries for San Francisco. Of course, no Christian McCaffrey still. Kansas City, they dealt with their own injuries too. I mean, no Hollywood Brown or Rasheed Rice, of course, for this game. So it's going to be Xavier, Xavier Worthy and Juju Smith Schuster, obviously. But this is the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes. I know Mahomes does not look good this year, but San Fran has just so many injuries. They've been dealing with so many guys just being out. I don't see how San Fran's able to overcome just their mass mounting of injuries that just continue to pile on time and time again. So I just it's a bad it's bad luck for San Francisco. Obviously they're gonna do everything they can to win this game, but I got the Chiefs winning this one. Serbinsky has the same thing. Bit surprised by Sam's pick, but he actually has the 49ers. So he's taking San Francisco to get the win at home. I mean, I could see it if they were a bit healthier, but I mean they are a bit healthier now. I think actually I believe what's his name? Jordan Mason is actually supposed to play for him now, but it's not been. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I think there's just too many injuries for him to handle. Um, Next, we have the New York Jets going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sunday night football. Who thought of putting this game on here? Who thought of putting I mean, a snooze fest the last time the Steelers were on here when we did the. I mean, we saw Cowboys and Steelers. It actually ended up being a decent game. Last week was a snooze fest with the Bengals and the Giants. Who thought of that game? And now we got the other New York team. Like, enough of the New York teams, man. We got Jets on the road against the Steelers. Sam is taking the New York Jets to get the win on the road in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field. I refuse to call it Acrisure Stadium. It will forever be Heinz Field, just like the whatever they call Syracuse's stadium now, the JMA Wireless Dome or whatever. That'll still forever be the Carrier Dome. Serbinsky is going to go with the Steelers. I do have the Jets in this one for two reasons. One, the Pittsburgh Steelers have decided they're going to start Russell Wilson this week, which absolutely makes no sense, especially with how good Justin Fields has been so far this year. So that's reason one. Reason two is the Jets have to win. I mean, you just made a trade for Davante Adams. You just made a Aaron Rodgers has been running this team. I mean, the New York made the 2024 New York Jets are beginning to look like the 2018 Green Bay Packers. That's through a year out there. I'm sure Davante Adams is on that team. That's what the Jets are starting to look like. They're looking like very old green. They're looking like the old Green Bay Packers from 6 years ago, which would have been great. 6 years ago. So I don't know how this is really necessarily going to work for the Jets, but they have to win like now because if they trade for Davante Adams and they lose their first game, man, is it really going to be some hard times for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, and the Aaron Rodgers is washed, beliefs will continue coming, and honestly, that's where I'm at right now. But we'll see what happens in this Steelers game. Russell Wilson coming in for the Steelers, I think, is a huge mistake, especially with what Justin Fields been doing to start the year. I mean, Fields been outstanding, so like, why would you bench him when he's been playing so well? So I don't really know what they're thinking, but but I got Jets in this one just because it is total desperation mode for New York. Next, we have the Baltimore rate. We have two Monday night games again this week. But first one, we have the main one. We have the Baltimore Ravens on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a fun game this should be. But see, the Ravens have been. I am going to go with the Ravens, but I want to see what team for Tampa shows up because of the good Tampa team. Because we have seen many versions of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. We saw a team that lost to the Denver Broncos, which made no sense. I don't know where that came from, but we saw a team that lost to the Denver Broncos. We saw the team that beat the Detroit, and we've seen the team that also beat the Lions in Detroit. We saw that team, which played pretty well. And that same team played the Philly Eagles and absolutely demolished them. So, like, whichever team for Tampa decides to show up for this game, it could be a very fun game. But we got to see what version of Tampa comes in. I think the Ravens have a slight edge here. It will be in Tampa. This is going to be a really, really good one. But I am going to be taking the Baltimore Ravens in this one. I just think they're a slightly better team. But depending on what version of Tampa comes in, it could swing in favor of the Bucks. Really good Monday night game here. Really good choice. Sam and Serbinsky both actually have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they both will go with the Bucks to win at home and improve to 5-2, dropping the Ravens to 4-3. And then to finish this one off, we have the LA Chargers going on the road to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Sam and Serbinsky both have the LA Chargers. Side note, Serbinsky will actually be at that game. So, of course, he lives in Arizona. So he actually will be at State Farm Stadium watching this, apparently. That's what he's saying. So, um, he'll be actually be at that one, apparently. Should be a fun game. I think the Chargers have a slight. They both pick Chargers. I think I said that already. I think Chargers have a slight edge. It's gonna be a really tight one for sure. I don't think either one of these teams are gonna blow out the other. I do think, like I said, I think Chargers have a little bit more in them. I like the defense has been pretty sharp. The offense has done enough. Really, Arizona's defense is not great. It's anybody's game, but I think the Chargers have a little bit more that they'll get past the Cardinals here and get a big win on the other Monday night game. This one's on ESPN Plus. It's not like ESPN2 or something or ABC like the other ones have been. Uh, Ravens and Bucks is the main like ABC game, or is it? I think it's ABC. Ravens Bucks is the like national game, and then like Chargers and Cardinals is like streaming on ESPN Plus. So yeah, but those are the two Monday night games. I got Chargers, and that's it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys next week with some more picks. I'll make sure we actually do it this time rather than doing it like at the last minute, like I have been. So that's all I got. Until then, adios, everyone.